they were centered, right? The whole of Jewish Freemasonry was centered in Salonika. Now, people should look this up. We can put links below. It's now called Thessalonica, and it was in Greek Macedonia. Okay, so it was the most densely packed area for Jewish wealth and Jewish masonry. In Greek Macedonia, a place called Salonika. People need to read up on this place. And do you know that everyone's heard of Constantinople, right? Everybody's heard of Istanbul, Constantinople. Think of it in terms of the Muslims, blah, blah, blah. Think of it in terms of the Christians. Yeah, but the co-ruler of the Byzantine Empire was Salonika. How many people do you know who've heard of Salonika? Yeah. And that was where the Jews hung out, right? The Constantinople was mostly Muslims and Christians, but the Jewish power was centered most in these Freemasonic lodges and businesses and corporations and what have you, these secret societies in Salonika. You know, these crazy people, they actually backed these young Turks. That's another name for this radical younger group of crypto Jews. They're Turkish by birth, but they're Jewish by religion. They succeeded, can you believe this, in bringing down this rather decadent Ottoman Empire. And they've been also doing a dance of jubilation ever since. So these are the things I listen for, right? I can hear them today. Right, so they're still dancing on the grave of Germany, and they're still dancing today on the grave of the Ottoman Empire. And you can hear if you have the right kind of hearing, you can still hear their squeals of delight.
And the Ottoman Empire was an oppressor, and that was not Islam. The Ottoman Empire was created by Dajjal, empowered by Gog and Magog. The Ottoman Empire waged ceaseless wars of aggression.
They're Jewish by religion. They succeeded, can you believe this, in bringing down this rather decadent Ottoman Empire. And they've been also doing a dance of jubilation ever since. So these are the things I listen for, right? I can hear them today. Right? So they're still dancing on the grave of Germany, and they're still dancing today on the grave of the Ottoman Empire. And you can hear if you have the right kind of hearing, you can still hear their squeals of delight.
I went to Moscow 2 years ago, after the Ottoman Empire had waged endless wars, unjust wars, jihad against Russia. And the Tatar in Crimea were slave raiders, enslaving the Russians and selling them as slaves for hundreds of years. And the Russians hated Islam for that. And had I been a Russian, I would also hate Islam for that. But lo and behold, when I went to Russia 2 years ago, and they knew my profile, that I denounced the Ottoman Empire for what they did. I denounced their taking the Hagia Sophia Cathedral and converting it into a masjid. I said it was disgraceful, it was shameful, it was manifestly sinful. And the news reached Russia. And so many other things I said, and they were pleased. And when I reached there, I found them to be a people showing respect for me. And more than that, showing affection for me. And showing respect for Islam. This is what I found in Russia.
Мы с президентом Бушем говорили, и я в разговоре с ним упомянул о том, что на днях был убит лидер Северного альянса в Афганистане Масуд. И я сказал тогда американскому коллеге, знаешь, меня это очень тревожит, такое чувство, что что-то должно произойти. Они явно к чему-то готовятся.
The next day was the 11th of September 2001.
We mourn the victims of the September 11 attacks, just as we did back in 2001. Like no other country, Russia knows what a terrorist act is like. On September the 3rd, we too marked a day to commemorate those killed in terror attacks in Russia. It's yet another reminder that we have to put aside any possible differences and join forces in the face of common challenges.
But it's also very clear, and you never see the fact that that Gazprom did that huge deal with Israel, knowing, listen to this one, they know the gas that they're going to deal with Gazprom, they know that gas came off of the Palestinian coast. They know it. Yeah. But the Russians did the deal with the Israelis because the Israelis are going to steal it right out from under the Palestinians. Yeah. They know that the Lubavitch, they don't take pictures of the Lubis going into his office every single week. They don't know that Putin passed the Holocaust bill that's the same exact law that France has, that if you deny any facts involved in the Holocaust, you go to prison. Most people don't know either that the Russian Federation Central Bank is part of the Rothschild banking structure. They don't know that.
And at the moment, he's doing a very good job of playing to the truth audience.
Yes,
he's a skillful politician.
Skillful, done. Yeah, absolutely, Mohammed. And, you know, so many people in our camp, in our supposed, and I hate using the truth movement because people wouldn't know the truth if it bit them in the nose. This movement we've got, so many people are buying that he is their hope.
And we also see that Imran Hosein praises and supports Iran, and he says that Iran's opposition towards Israel and America and the West is actually real. So it's clear after this analysis that Imran Hosein wants us to become followers of the Shia Dajjal. This is why he tells us that the right eye is good and the left eye is evil. So that when a Western Dajjal rises with a blind right eye, his followers would think that that is the only Dajjal. But when the Eastern Dajjal rises with a blind left eye, as specifically prophesied in many ahadith, Imran Hosein's followers would deny that he is the Dajjal because they have been taught that the left eye is evil and the right eye is good. So being blind in the left eye, according to Imran Hosein, is a good thing. Aside from this, Imran Hosein also insists that the Dajjal may not be one-eyed at all, but that he could be metaphorically one-eyed.
What is blind is the heart, which is inside the chest. And so the heart can see. And so in addition to this eye, we also have this eye. Now it is possible for us to understand the hadith. Dajjal sees with one eye, his left eye. The left eye symbolizes his external capacity for sight. Dajjal is blind in the right eye, indicating that Dajjal is internally blind.
This is clearly another deception on his part to make his followers support the Dajjal when he appears, as it is stated clearly in the hadith that the Dajjal will be physically one-eyed, not metaphorically. In fact, the eye of Dajjal is described as looking like a floating grape in Sahih Muslim. So only an idiot or a liar would say that the Dajjal will not be physically one-eyed. And this shows the truly satanic agenda of Imran Hosein.
And in your effort to liberate yourself from oppression and to bring back freedom to your country, you should align yourself with Russia. And if Russia understands the role that Russia can play, Russia can succeed in easing a transition in Syria, a bloodless transition, which would bring the majority community to rule over the country and yet maintain an alliance with Iran and yet maintain an alliance with Russia, and so outmaneuver the Zionist plans over Syria. I don't see any other route. I have completed my book on an Islamic view of Gog and Magog in the modern world. I think it is perhaps the only book in the market. It is not pride on my part. I have completed my book on an Islamic view of Gog and Magog in the modern world. I think it is perhaps the only book in the market. It is not pride on my part. I am not being proud.